What's the secret to making the creamiest gluten-free mac and cheese with perfectly tender pasta and a smooth velvety sauce? Do I have the magic recipe for you? Hi, I'm Melissa Erdelak from the gluten-free website Mama Gourmand, and today we are going to make an epic comfort food that everyone needs a great recipe for, mac and cheese. But listen, don't just take a traditional mac and cheese recipe and switch out gluten-free pasta. Your pasta will be mushy and it won't hold up well under being baked. So today I'm going to tell you a few easy tricks that you can get a perfectly tender pasta and a smooth, creamy sauce that is so good, no one will know it's gluten-free. So let's make your gluten-free life a success and not a hot mess. So this recipe comes together really quick. The cheese sauce comes together really quick. I highly recommend get all your ingredients prepped before you begin so you could just add them into the pot. So I've grated my cheese, I have my American cheese, I boiled my gluten-free pasta, and here's an important tip. Number one, use a good gluten-free pasta. This brand, this roux, one of my readers told me about this. Incredible. You cannot tell it is gluten-free. It holds its shape really well. And I get it off of Amazon. I haven't seen it in my local grocery store, but a backup brand that I use a lot is Barilla gluten-free elbow pasta as well. I have my evaporated milk, all my spices, everything ready to go. When you're cooking your gluten-free pasta, boil it a couple minutes less than al dente. You want to have a little bit a hardness to it because we're gonna bake the pasta again, and that's how we avoid it becoming mushy. So it'll finish baking in the oven so you won't over bake it and then have a mushy mess. If you'd like, you can start the sauce while your pasta's boiling, and we're just going to add 2 tablespoons of butter to the pan, and once that melts, we'll add the gluten-free flour to make a roux. That just means a thickening sauce for the cream sauce. To the melted butter, I'm adding 3 tablespoons of gluten-free flour, and then my seasonings, which is just a teaspoon of dry mustard, a half a teaspoon of garlic powder, a half a teaspoon of onion powder, and then salt. And then we are just going to whisk that to combine. It'll make a nice thick paste. To that, I'm adding 3/4 of a cup of milk. I recommend at least 2% milk here. Whole if you want even better mac and cheese. And then, this is my secret weapon, evaporated milk. Instead of just using all milk, I use evaporated milk because one, it gives it a thicker, creamier texture, and also it holds up better for reheating. You know when you have leftover mac and cheese and then you reheat it and it's like grainy and clumpy? Using evaporated milk eliminates that problem. I don't even have to add milk back into the recipe when I'm reheating it because the evaporated milk makes the sauce a lot more stable. Just continue whisking that until it comes to a boil, and then it will start to thicken. Once the mixture starts to simmer, it will thicken up, and then we're going to add 2 ounces of cream cheese. So the cream cheese also just helps thicken the sauce and gives it a nice creamy texture. And the last thing we have to add is the cheese, the most important part. Extra sharp cheddar. That is what I recommend. You can try a different cheddar, but really just use extra sharp cheddar. If you use a medium cheddar, the taste of the cheese is going to get lost on there. And then also always use freshly grated cheese. That's another way that you avoid graininess in mac and cheese. The second cheese I add is American cheese. This is the real magic. American cheese melts really smooth. I just use American cheese slices. You need 6 ounces, which is about 8 slices of cheese. And then I just took the papers off before so it's ready to go, and then just ripped them up. Once that's all smooth and creamy, then we're just going to toss it with our cooked pasta. Here's a tip I didn't think about. Try to cook your cheese sauce in a large enough pot that you can just add your pasta to the pot so you don't have to dirty up another dish. I forgot that. So I'm just going to transfer it to a large bowl and then just pour the cheese sauce over it and then just toss everything to combine. So if you don't want a baked mac and cheese, then you can just eat it at this point. You could have a really creamy, like Velveeta shells and cheese experience. But I like to bake mine for a little bit, so I'm gonna transfer it to a greased baking dish, sprinkle some more cheese on top, and bake it for about 30 minutes until it's nice and bubbly and golden, and then dig in. I reserved some of the cheese for the top. You don't have to add the extra cheese on top, but why not? Just going for broke here with this recipe. It's mac and cheese, for goodness sake. Besides putting more grated cheese on top, you could do gluten-free breadcrumbs, you could do crushed pork rinds, or I have a recipe on my website for gluten-free French fried onions, sliced tomatoes. That's how my mom always does her mac and cheese. Kids don't like it so much, grandmas do. But I will say, my kids do say, are we having the world's best mac and cheese every time I serve this? So there you have it. It's the world's best mac and cheese. You can find the full printable recipe in the description box below, and I will see you in the next video.